Welcome back. Time now to look into the papers, and Mr. Dayo Akintobi, a journalist and dependable analyst, joins us on the program, and he's got his voice back.
Yes, yes, I've got my voice back. Thank God it's Friday.
Thank God it's Friday. You got it right out of my mind and mouth. All right, let's begin with this Nigeria. This Nigeria focuses on the anti-corruption trial of the current administration. Court orders interim forfeiture of 57 properties linked to Malami, former Attorney General and Minister of Justice, of course, grants 500 million naira bail to former Justice Minister, wife, son. Judge warns lawyers against trying to influence him. So there you have it. We could also look at this through the lens of the whole outlook of the anti-corruption trial of this administration. How impartial has it all been?
Well, it's quite disheartening, actually, to see the number of key figures in the immediate past administration who have corruption allegations, from the former CBN Governor Emefiele to the former top legal officer of the country, who himself was responsible for fighting an anti-corruption war, Malami. And even though these are still allegations, the fact that they even exist at all throws up a major cloud of dust. And you begin to ask yourself that, how deep is the rot actually within the administrative circles? And there are allegations that this is actually a political witch hunt, that the reason the immediate past Attorney General is being persecuted or prosecuted simply is because he's identified with the opposition coalition ADC, and he has political ambitions to run for governorship of Kebbi. But I also ask myself that, well, there are other people who have joined that opposition coalition who are not being pursued for corruption issues, who have also been in government in the past. I mean, you have the Vice President Atiku, you have Amechi, you have El Rufai, you have Peter Obi himself. They've all, at one time or another, been at the trough of public wealth, public commonwealth. But yet, there is no immediate pursuit of them. So that kind of begs the question as to whether this is actually a political witch hunt, or whether the administration actually really is committed about fighting corruption. I think the jury is still out, but I think it's a good step that we're starting to show that there are no sacred cows. I don't care how high up you are in office. If you've not maintained the highest standards of integrity throughout your tenure, you will be called to question at any time during the future. Fortunately, there's no statute of limitations on corruption. In other words, it doesn't expire. Even if you did it 100 years ago, you can still be called to question. So I think it's important that those who are putting themselves up to serve should keep that in the back of their mind, that no matter how long it takes, if you don't uphold the highest standards of integrity, you can and will be called to question sometime in the future. No matter how this comes out for Malami, it is a disgrace. At the end of the day, he's become a fallen public servant. Even if he's acquitted, there'll be some people who forever will view him with a toga of corruption. And look at the sheer volume of what he's been accused of. Look how many billions and how many properties in Abuja, in Kebbi, in Kano. And you ask yourself that if one person is responsible for this much malfeasance in office, then how systemically deep can this rot be? And what does Nigeria's future hold in terms of hope for the rest of us if those who are charged with the responsibility of protecting our commonwealth and using it for the welfare and development of the entire country, for the benefit of all of us, if they're using it to serve themselves?
Let's take a look at The Guardian this morning. I mean, listening to your submission this morning, I mean, I remember, he had to oversee the recovery of the Abacha loads, and, a lot of times it was in the news, and I was very impressed by the fact that even when the people raised questions about what was this monies recovered loads used for, he would always come out and defend it, and I felt, oh, for once, you know what, I think we're getting it right. But now, the story is different. But The Guardian leads with something else. Publish or perish, how varsities mass-produce research without solutions to societal ills. There are other writers there, but staying on that, it says mass-produced research rarely translates into innovations that significantly impact local industries or communities. It goes on and on and on. But this is the reality on ground. It looks like we're a country where we all do research and projects. I mean, I did one as well, undergraduate level, master's level as well, postgraduate level. But man, once we're done, it stays in the shelf somewhere. You give the school 5 copies or thereabouts, and that's the end, Mr. Kitobe. That's where we are.
I saw a video once of piles and piles and piles of this, you know, how they bind the research, your dissertation. You bind it in a hard copy. I saw stacks of them dumped in a bush somewhere that probably were never ever reviewed by professors. But see, universities are supposed to be incubators for knowledge and breaking new frontiers of knowledge. And there's supposed to be a natural harmony between these centers of knowledge and the corporate world that implement, that convert knowledge into useful solutions for societal problems. And if you look at many of the developed world, there's a relationship between universities and entrepreneurship entities who take that research and convert them, because universities are simply theoretical institutions. They do the research and they come up with a body of knowledge that says we can solve this problem so and so and so and so way. But they're not implementers. The purpose of university is to dissect and be able to harmonize and distill information and put it in a format in which it can now be converted into solutions that solve societal problems. So in Nigeria, there's a disconnect. The research is happening, but it's not translating into meaningful innovation. I mean, for example, in University of Lagos, as we speak, there's a company that's actually assembling locally manufactured Nigerian vehicles. They're doing that in collaboration with the engineering department of the university. And the university is standing strong behind that company, providing necessary infrastructure, giving them the resources to do the necessary research. And their cars and vehicles are coming out. They're competitive with what is being imported from other countries. This is the type of collaboration that you need to see between the gown and town. Gown and town. There's got to be a natural collaboration between the two of them, but it's not really happening that much in Nigeria. So we need to see more of those collaborations because, as you said, we all do these dissertations, we all do these researches, and
once
once you're done, it's not really translating into meaningful development at all.
And I mean, we have...
All right, I was just going to say, maybe in a few seconds, just respond to the IPOB 14 Soludo's threat to revoke Onitsha Market's ownership rights. He's been under a lot of scrutiny and criticisms in the last 48 hours after he made that statement that he was going to pull down the market and replace it with a school if they do not go away from observing the sit-at-home order. That's where this whole drama began from.
Yes, that's what it all started about.
He threatened that they must not obey the sit-at-home order. But can you really blame them, really?
It's out of fear, really. I mean, he paid an unscheduled visit to Onitsha Market last Monday, and he found almost all the shops closed. And he said, why? What is this? After all, we've stated that this sit-at-home order on Monday is illegal, and we are supposed to stop doing this and let all markets operate freely. And he got there and the markets were closed. So he shut the market for a week, said everybody should come and regularize their documentation and they should all conform to what the law says, otherwise he'll pull it down. Now, of course, that has created a ruckus. There's a protest going on. They've blocked the 4th Niger Bridge. They're demanding the market be opened back up immediately. They're saying he has no right to pull the market down and replace it with anything whatsoever. So this, of course, is the natural friction between governance and the yearnings of the people. Bottom line is this. IPOB for many years, even after Nnamdi Kanu washed his hands of this sit-at-home on Monday, after the previous administration said it was no longer valid, in 3 of the states, I think Ebonyi, Abia, and Enugu, you no longer see evidence of sit-at-home. But Anambra and Imo, it has continued to prevail there out of fear And so what the government...
Especially in the local government
Yes,
areas.
what Governor Soludo is trying to do really is to show strong leadership and bring back a sense of normalcy. As far as he's concerned, look, non-governmental agencies or individuals should not be able to hold the kind of sway that they disrupt the everyday lives of people. Their means to earn a livelihood, their means to go about their normal day. So he's just trying to lead properly and say that, look, it's not right and we won't tolerate it. And that's what he's really trying to do.
You know, but the question then again is the government doing enough? Many have said that, you know, the governor should have gone there to the market without his security detail. Let's just test how well security it can be, you know, assured.
So maybe the fear is not limited to the individual.
And there probably needs to be coordination amongst the governors of the Southeast, you know, because some of the reports suggest that some traders are coming from, you know, far distances, as far as Asaba, you know, for instance. So security on the route, and that was, you know, the outcome of the conversation we had with one of the market stakeholders. Is there security on the route to Onitsha itself? And is there security guaranteed when they leave the market? Those are their concerns.
But then again, security from a broad perspective is that of the center, it's from the federal government. Governor Soludo doesn't have his own army. He doesn't have, well, yeah, you've got ESN and you've got some vigilante groups, but how much security can Governor Soludo himself really provide?
That's another debate. Let's not start it. Let's go to Daily Independent and wrap up very quickly with this one, which is another important story. Weak logistics, trade gaps put Nigeria's opportunities at risk. And you know, the other time you were talking about the disconnect between the town and the gown. These are real problems that we need solving with a knowledge-based economy. So, you know, we could also tie this to a matter of security. You know, this is talking about logistics, transportation that should shore up opportunities, you know, for economic transformation.
Well, see, there's this Africa Free Trade Act, this AFTA thing that Nigeria is a part of, that opened up the entire West African sub-region, the entire continent, to free trade, free movement of labor and things like that. And that was supposed to help boost economies, especially that of Nigeria, which is a major market in terms of goods and services that want to come in. The market is there. In terms of the things that we ourselves produce that we can export. But as this report is saying, due to issues of logistics, transportation, you know, insecurity, things like taxation at the borders, you know, paperwork, documentation. Have any of you ever tried to clear goods from the port recently to see how cumbersome the process is? Even if personal effects, I'm not talking about things you even want to come and sell, just to clear things from the ports, the documentation, the process, the multiple level of levies. It's such a cumbersome process. Now imagine you are a cashew farmer and you're trying to export your goods to Ghana. Just next door there, you want to go and sell. And this AFCTA has given you a framework by which it's supposed to be simple and seamless. But the reality on ground is that it's actually more complicated and cumbersome than ever. And that's what that report is saying, is that we're losing opportunities that AFTA sought to address. We're losing them because of all the structural bottlenecks that are built into the system that stymie our ability to trade freely. So, well, what is the solution? It all comes always down to government. There's bureaucratic red tape. There's corruption to some extent. There's multiple layers of government. Local government will take its own taxes. State will want its own levies. Federal government will also ask for custom duties. So there's got to be more harmony between the levels of government. And then, I'm sorry to say, the influence of touts in the process. You want to take a trailer out of the ports. You can't get it out if you haven't settled. When you're driving along the road to the border, you are stopped at so many checkpoints by customs, by police, by road safety, by even local government touts that are not even uniformed, and you're paying money every step of the way. These are some of the things the report is complaining about that have restricted our ability to take advantage of AFTA in a way that it was envisioned when we signed that agreement.
All right. We hope the message gets to those who should hear it. I mean, I heard yesterday the Senate President saying that perhaps a keke could get to Abuja get to Kaduna from Abuja faster than the train. Hey!
Nigeria will teach you patience.
It will test your patience.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Akintobi, thank you so much. Mr. Akintobi is a journalist, public affairs analyst. Thank you for coming on.
My pleasure always. Good morning, Nigeria. Thank God it's Friday.
So we'll take a moment now. When we return, it will be time for our first conversation. Why is the Awujale selection process marked by such great controversy? We have answers for you after this time out. Join us again.